Hi everyone, today we are back with more of the Roottrees Are Dead, and I already have an idea of where I want to start actually looking stuff up. So we come over to the computer, we look up the 5 pieces. There was a book that I missed that I didn't look up in the library, so I'm going to look up the History of Candy Volume 2 by Charles Lee, because that may help us find out the 5 pieces names, which will help us, or the 5 pieces old flavors, which will help us figure out their names of the kids so that we can, oh my gosh, what was his name? Charles Lee, so that we can figure out the main 5 pieces, which I think is a good place to start this video. Okay, there you go. So it's printing that. Published in 1985, this is a part of a book series about all things candy in the modern world. It starts in 1925 and continues onward to chronicle the rise of mass production and global distribution. The book ends with a look into the future of candy as envisioned by experts in 1985. With the addition of hindsight, you can clearly see they got pretty much everything wrong. Oh, darn. It includes some print advertisements. You find a newspaper ad for 5 pieces from the 1930s added to evidence. See, that is what I'm talking about. That is going to help us, but let me see if there's anything else we should probably look into. I don't think so. So we're just going to go to the 5 pieces. Great. You found this advertisement in the Sweet History of Candy, Volume 2 by Charles Lee. It's from 1928, 6 years after the debut of 5 pieces. It states the flavors are inspired by their children, and the order is grape, elderberry, cinnamon extract, melon, and the newest flavor, Miracle Berry. That's Miracle. It's a miracle, modern candy for a modern society. Roottrees 5 pieces contains 5 different maple-infused flavors. The Roottrees are a proud family business, and our flavors are inspired by our children. G is for grape, E is for and so on. Miracle Berry is a burst of beautiful blossoming blended berries. Try it today. So, if I'm just gonna write this down, I'm gonna highlight this and use it as miscellaneous because that's gonna help us place the kids in order. So if we go to the this family tree, you see each in order. This guy is Clancy Edwards, so he's the cinnamon guy, which means that this one will start with an M, and then Miracle Berry, grape, elderberry. But we have to remember, so in this, there was a Elias Jr., which I thought was probably the second born. Elias Jr. Roottree, probably the second born, who was also known as the oldest boy, because they said that their firstborn was a girl, and I think this is Elias Jr. We have to figure out what he did first, though, and then we have to find what was the first girl. Well, we can kind of look at the root trees that have an M. I'm not just gonna guess, but we can see that is probably Margaret root tree, I'm assuming, and then we have, oh wait, that was G. Melon is probably Margaret, but who's grape? Who starts with a G to be the firstborn? Gwendolyn. Right, I remember Gwen. Because if we go to this photo over here, I think it was here. No, the original 5 pieces, where are they? Right here. Yeah, these are the 5 pieces. I'm assuming this is the oldest, Gwendolyn, and then this is the other one. We don't quite know that. Who are these people? Let's first, though, who is this again? Gwen? Another Gwen. Let's look up Gwendolyn Roottree and see if we get anything to try to figure her out. I'm gonna have to look up how to spell her name, actually. Gwendoline. No. Alright, so she doesn't pop up, but I mean, that's the only... We can use that, I guess, as evidence. We know that the firstborn starts with a G, and the only one that has, is a root tree who starts with a G is Gwendolyn. So if we put her there, we still don't know, I guess, which one is which. We'll find that out soon. And then we have the M, or what was, hold on. Melon, right, which is the only one with the root tree with another M. If we have one, let me see. There's only one. Margaret. So we basically have the 5 pieces, but we don't know what they did for a living quite yet, unless there is something somewhere in my evidence. But that's where I wanted to start. So now we have at least their names written down, and we'll swap out the girls later. Let's see if we have anything in our evidence that tells us what those people did for a living. Let me reread these. Eli Jr. designed a warehouse. So that's Elias Jr. And then Mr. Morden was there with Aunt Gwendolyn. So is there a Morden? Is that like her husband, I'm assuming? Mr. Morden was there with Aunt Gwendolyn. Angelica Morden. Gwendolyn Morden. Oh no. Did she have a kid and name the Gwendolyn second? There's a lot of Mordens. Angelica Morden. Oh my gosh. So this is a whole bunch of... So it's either James or Zachariah Morden, I'm assuming. So we can't really do anything about that. I also noticed when I put in... Where did I put that in? These people over here. It said that Lauren had a son named, I think, Clancy. And for some reason, Clark. And for some reason, I said over and over again, it's going to be Clark is her son, Clark is her son, Clark is her son. And then I put in Jack. So that is her son. Because Jack, Roottree, they wouldn't have a son named Roottree. That's her husband's name. We don't know what he was yet. But that, I don't know how I messed it up so bad. But I did, somehow. Okay. Now, I guess, let's go start doing... We were doing this before. Okay, here we also know that the generation after Lauren's, so her son, Jack, right, including her son, were in the... So he's one of the free spirits. He's one of those people in that free spirits photo. I get messed up going through these all the time. The free spirits. One of these is Clark. Oh, well, there's like 70 of them. But he's one of the boys. Eli. I see that. Because there's like Eli C. There's so many Eliases. But he's one of the boys. That helps us. There's a child, so that will help us eventually finding where that kid goes. Anyway, I don't think I can figure that out quite yet. So we're going to go to the second page of this book, which we were doing last time. 1953, Complaints. An entry entitled Complaints from Lauren Roottree's diary went in 1953. This entry seems to focus specifically on one of Lauren's family members, Gwen, who's on the notable Roottrees list. It seems everyone has something to complain about. Gwen, as an only child, complained of loneliness. I told her that being expected to watch after 3 younger brothers didn't feel like a blessing, but it fell on deaf ears. During the summer where I went to stay with her and Aunt Margot, I hoped she would be the sister I never had and that I'd do the same for her. I even tried to dye my hair blonde to fit in with the 2 of them. What a mess, but she complained. To her, I was the lucky cousin. So Lauren used to be blonde, but the 2 sisters are different hair colors. They're not both blonde. One of them was brunette and one of them was blonde in that picture, but we'll figure it out. Now she's off living the glamorous life while I'm stuck here with Clark. Oh. I must admit, seeing her everywhere contributes to my unhappiness. Her visage stares at me, even now from my coffee table. She gets to be in starlit and tell tales of how she gallivants around the world. So we're going to look up that. We'll put that into our terms to look up. Okay. And tell tales of how she gallivants around the world, kissing the likes of Harrison Lane and Wide Bill Williams. Should I look those 2 people up? I don't know if I should, because they were in... Let me just see what happens if we look this guy up. Western Frontiers do the popular of guys like us, so maybe we should. The studio brought Lane back to play the villain's twin brother, this time as a hero joining the protagonist. Western Frontiers has no connection to the Roottrees. Harrison Lane seems to be a dead end. Oh. Harrison Lane married his high school sweetheart after they were reunited at a movie premiere. Let me just check. Yeah, has no connection. So he's a dead end. But what about the other dude? Wild Bill Williams. What if he has something to help with? Wild Bill Williams was a leading man of some notable movies in the 1950s. He appeared in an adventure movie called Fortune Favors the Grave, which is yet to be released for home audiences. You don't find any additional information about the film. He was well known for his good luck and off-screen romances, specifically with blondes. He was married 4 different times to 4 different actresses. There's a famous Hollywood rumor that he even approached Marilyn Monroe at a party and that she was already aware of his reputation. Did you know trivia? Wild Bill grew up in Paris, France. He returned there often. But this one doesn't say this is a dead end, so I'm going to look up this one as well. Wild Bill Williams was a leading man of some notable movies. Oh, this is... So yeah, dead end. Okay, so I didn't think I needed to look up the other actors, but I just wanted to be sure. Okay. She's the first Roottrees woman to be anything other than a housewife, and I am jealous. Ooh, if I were not a single mother, could I make my own way in this world? But I'm off topic. A girl with all the luck in the world was jealous of me, and now, though I have been undoubtedly burdened by this terrible tragedy, I'm also lucky to be born into a family that can support me for eternity. I can raise a child without worry, and like countless other widows, if any of them were to hear me complaining, they would rightly scoff, just like I do Gwendolyn. Okay, so we're gonna look this up. Oh, new periodical! That's like the magazine. Scarlet was a magazine that started with the colorization of film and went until around 1964. Generally, it was a tabloid with a focus on famous actors and actresses. It didn't much go into any other aspects of filmmaking or Hollywood news. So what if I'm supposed to look up Harrison Lane and Wild Bill Williams in that then? Let's see. Let's go to periodicals. Let's do Starlet and let's look up. No, nothing seen. Okay, they're a dead end. But what about? I just want to be sure. Ooh, there's something here. Wild Bill Williams was mentioned many times throughout the magazine's lifespan, with stories and gossip about who he was seen with in public, blondes mostly. Yes, the 3 specific packages stand out. The first mentions one of his first roles was under his real name, Walter Forsythe. The second is an interview, although he doesn't mention her by name. You can determine from context he's talking about Gwen Roottrees. An apology to the ladies I'm actually taken. Earlier this year, I did a friend a favor. He was directing a war movie and asked me to play a small part. Wouldn't you know that son of a bitch cut me from the picture? I'm just ribbing. It wasn't his fault. Apparently the studio didn't want to pay for a star of my caliber. I got the last laugh though. I met someone. She spent most of the film crying. She was playing a soldier's wife, but even through the tears, she was incredible. I know I tend to have a reputation, but this one's true love. I only have eyes for her. Unironically, the third is a rumor that his divorce from Gwen was due to multiple affairs, including one with another actress. An American renter on vacation in Paris claims to have overheard Wild Bill and Gwen arguing in public while she was holding a baby and visibly pregnant. Not long after, Gwen announced she was divorcing Wild Bill and also that she was pregnant again, giving her rumor more credibility. Okay. So I'm glad I looked into this guy because that's her first husband. Let's look up him. No, that's just the same thing. But if we can look up maybe Walter Forsythe in the period or in the regular spider search. Walter is listed in the cast of a movie called Gal and the Gangs, which was directed by Bruce Throckmorton. It appears to be a low-budget comedy, but there's no other information about it anywhere else online. Well, let me just make sure. No. Okay, what about in the Scarlet? And then we'll go put his name in and as her husband, but I have to look. Oh, shoot. Gal and the Gang. Okay, Walter Forsythe was Gwen's first husband. Gwen Roottrees had Walter Forsythe, which, okay, is there any other Forsythes? Did she name her kids? Oh shoot, did she name her kids with his last name? Nope, sure didn't. Good for her. Split up, yes, and then she had 2 kids. And then he had an unknown spouse. These ones I remember, I don't know if these pictures are in the right order, but those are her 2 kids. We might have to swap them later, but that's a name out of my frickin' thing. Oh, yes. And then, okay, so now we have to go to read the rest of this. So I think we've read everything and taken notes for everything that we could do on here, other than that, I guess Lauren wasn't blonde naturally, but we knew that. And that, assuming maybe that means that she gave birth to a blonde child, so maybe that means something, that this is Gwendolyn. It's just interesting that this is Gwen and her mom was Margot and not Gwendolyn. But that I'm pretty sure is correct because you go back to the 5 pieces thing and the first kid was Grape, which means it was Gwen. And so forth, right? Unless I'm completely wrong about that, but they talked about them being in the right order. So, yeah. I think that's right. And then we talked that something else somewhere talked about Gwen being the oldest. Here, I'm pretty sure. Gwen is an only child, or no, sorry, complained of loneliness. Maybe this is saying Lauren had 3 younger siblings. Where's Lauren? Yes, 3 younger brothers. So these were all brothers, right? Because there's a Clancy Jr. and then there's an Edward, which I'm assuming are both his kids, and then there's like a final Roottree. There's another Roottree boy that's gonna go there. November? Who's named November? Wolf? What the heck is Wolf? That's some type of stuff that this famous dude would name his. You know, he would name a child Wolf. Just because he could. Anyway, let's go back to this. I'm getting really distracted, but it's okay. Dynasty. An entry entitled Dynasty from Lauren Roottree's diary written in 1958. It focused on the day her grandfather Elias announced he had stepped down as president of the Roottrees Candy Company and the meeting to determine his successor, so the second president. I wish I hadn't been a fly on the wall today. Clancy told me that everyone got quite heated. Granddad was furious none of his sons would take over as president, but that's what he gets for holding on to it so long. With architects, preachers, and lawyers, nobody's got time for candy. That's his kids are architects, preachers, and lawyers. Right. Architects, preachers, and lawyers. 5. Oh shoot, I just opened a calculator. LOL. These are the 5 pieces occupations. That's gonna help a lot. Save note. Because I'm assuming Eli Jr., they talked about him building a warehouse or something. That means Eli Jr. is the architect. I'm pretty sure. So let's go to this guy first. And he is an architect. Bang. Nice. Okay, now let's go back to what we were doing. So with the 5 pieces refusing to step up, it came down to us next gens. Pop argued at length that the company should stay with our branch with the family since we still have the Roottree name. I'm not even sure Clancy would have wanted it, but he's the one who was volunteered. Instead of it ending up going to Zach, even though his surname didn't match the candy, he's the firstborn son of the firstborn 5-piece. Zach is the firstborn son of the firstborn 5-piece. Firstborn son, right, of the firstborn 5-piece. But this could be a girl, and we don't know. But didn't I say, where I was like, it's either this or this? Where was that at? It was either Zach or somebody else. I literally don't remember. I'll probably have to go watch my video, but I said where I was like, it's either Zach or this guy is the last Roottree. Like, if we look. Oh no, there was a lot more. But it's specifically like ZAC, wasn't it? Oh, it was Zachariah Morden. Right. Oh, right. Oh, the Morden. Right. So, because there's 2 Morden boys. So, James or Zach Morden was her husband, but Zachariah is her son. So, meaning James Morden is her husband. Right? Yeah. And then she has one of these firstborn son. But that could be, we don't know. This could be a girl, this could be a boy. So we're not gonna do anything there. Interesting. But Zach became the second president. Okay. So we're actually gonna take a note down here. We're gonna do Zach Morden. Or actually, we should go over here and highlight his name. And then Zach Morden. Second president. Gwendoline's firstborn son. Okay. Even though his surname doesn't match the candy, he's the firstborn son of the firstborn five-piece. I'm not sure how that's relevant to running a new company, but Granddad has always had a very particular views when it came to his bloodline. Ew. I asked Clancy if it ever came up that a woman could take over. After all, Andy's older than Zach, and I'm the next oldest of us all. But he just laughed. I'll never forget the cuss words Pop used when he told Ma it wouldn't go to us. Mother, ever the quick-witted, at least with catty remarks, countered back. Maybe they wanted to go to the only member of the family who looks like he samples the product. Is that a fat joke? Is that a fat joke? Because there's one kid that I noticed was a little bit bigger, and I'm assuming that's him being a butt cheek. Okay, so let's look up, hold on, let's do Andy's older than Jack, and I'm the next older of us all. Let's put that as a note. Written by Lauren. Oops. Okay, but I think we're making good progress. We're putting people in places, and we're finding out some drama. Some real drama. Okay, so Zachariah Morden. Let's go back to the photos. I always get confused. The Free Spirits and Next Generation. Zachariah should be in here somewhere. Like, I'm assuming they're trying to make a dig at this guy, which is really rude. Which one is the Morden? He's standing right next to his... No, that's not his mom. This is Lauren. Oh my gosh. I don't know. What about... Oops. These guys, there's like 7 million of them. Bonnie, next president Guy Hut. Okay, Ernie Jr., Caroline. Oh, that's how many signatures there are. So Guy Hudson really wanted the presidency, I guess. Miracle Jr. is somewhere in here. Oh, this guy. Jim Roottrees, Clark Carl, and Eli M. Eli Morden. Is there an Eli Morden? But there was another, oh my gosh, there's another Miracle Jr. So I think we can go over here and we can put this guy's picture. Where is he at? Is this one? That one was like the dude. This one? Is that the same photo? He got like a tan suit on, like a white suit. Yup, that's him. Okay, so we're doing some things. Also, there's another one who was a lawyer. Oh, right there. Architect, lawyer, unknown occupation. But if she was the first woman that wasn't a housewife, wouldn't that mean that the other ones, like all the women before her, were just housewives? I don't know for sure. So I'm not going to do that just yet, but I'm going to store that little information in my little noggin, okay? Let's go back to here. We're on the third, or on Dynasty. Did we finish Dynasty? Okay, yes. So there's a lot of more information to lock in from these guys, but that's okay. Sam. An entry entitled Sam from Lawrence Roottrees diary written in 1963. From a previous entry, you learned that Elias Roottrees had given in to his wife and announced that Sam, an obscure relative, was to be included in family gatherings. Gwyneth had been pushing to include Sam for quite some time. Lauren writes, "Why Sam? I have many distant relatives I've never met at all. I've never met. After all, Granny had sisters and Granddad had a brother or two, but I was told, trim their branches from the family tree." Oh, so why is Sam special? Nothing adds up, and I'm not the only one to realize. And she summoned all the next gens to a secret meeting in Zach's office. Gwen's in Paris, but the rest of us, including Miracle Boys, spent ages trying to unravel the mystery. I didn't recognize Sam at Uncle Junior's wedding to Patsy last year. Uncle Junior... Which one's Uncle? Lauren's writing this. Her uncle, one of the junior, and he married a Patsy. At the reception when I asked who Sam was, Pop shunned me and said it was complicated. So let's go to Lauren. And she has an uncle who has a junior. So that's like her, which one is a junior? Elias Roottrees is a junior. But also I think No, this is junior. But are they like being, because he's so young, are they being like, hey, he's a junior? I don't think so. So I think then they're talking about him, and he married a who? Patsy? He married a Patsy? I'm assuming that's a nickname for Patricia, but there's two of those. So I'm going to take this now and I say, I think Elias Jr. married to a Patsy. I think Patricia. Because I don't see a Patsy, so I don't know. I think that means it's one of the Patricias, right? Because there's no Patsy. It's one of these. Anyway. At the reception, when I asked who Sam was, Pop stressed me and said it was complicated. I remember Sam's picture. He's like the little guy. Clancy swore he saw Sam working along the farmhands, EC, and John when he used to drive past the old Anderson farm on his way to work. Okay. Upon hearing that, Zach checked the records and managed to confirm all three are on the books. Eli, Miracle's youngest, not my brother, even chimed in. Eli, Miracle's youngest. So Miracle gave birth to an Eli, or had an Eli. Oh, but Eli C or Eli M. Why are there so many of them? Why are there so many of them? Okay, back to our notes. Miracle. Is there a Miracle? Do we have just regular Miracle dude? Anderson Maple Farm, yeah. No, so we need to write that down. I just pick this. Eli is Miracle's youngest. Chimed in. Apparently when he was riding his mini bike along the farm a few weeks ago, Sam gave him some old tools and taught him how to make the bike's engines faster. None of us think that proper for a multitude of reasons, but Eli certainly seemed thrilled. Okay, Sam working alongside the farmhands. So EC and John. Or Sam was working along the... I was gonna make that enough. Sam was working along the farm's hands, EC and John. So EC, I'm assuming, is Edward Clancy? Oh, you can put unknown male or unknown female in here to help you deduce down. I haven't touched that. Why is there just an Eloise? We don't know her last name. That's interesting. But EC, there's no like C last name with an E. So I'm assuming EC is Clancy, but he was a lawyer, not a farmhand. A farmer? Oh, I don't know. But it said he was a lawyer because he did the Clancy Trust or whatever. Confusion. We're just gonna move on. Oh, but it did say it was always the most recent job. So it makes sense because Elias, or Edward Clancy or whatever his name was, he was one of the 5 pieces, and his mom, not her, his mom had an Anderson Maple Farm, and then his dad they started doing it, whatever. So he was a farmhand back then, but then he grew up and became a lawyer. That just helps. But there was a John who worked on the Anderson Maple Farm as well. Interesting, okay. At the end of the day, nothing explains why an outsider has cozied into family affairs, especially one who works on the farm of all places. Whatever happened to blood is thicker than syrup? Why is Granddad making an exception now? What does that mean? Is he not an obscure relative was to be included? Obscure relative. What does that mean? Does that have something to do with like the adoption? Where was the adoption little thing? Over here, but that seems like he's too young for that. Sam Cattrall. Cattrall. Stephanie Cattrall. And Sam. So he was given... Sam Cattrall was given his mom's last name. Which is interesting. So like here, I also noticed Gwen, it said that her father took her mother's name as last name. So we could go here and we could click unknown male. I think is fun. It helps you reason what everybody is. Okay, but let's go back to this and just read through the rest of her diary. Because I'm figuring stuff out a little bit. Like, we know John. Who is John? Let's look up. Oops, John. There's not a John. There is not a John anywhere on here. So maybe they're just referring to some, like, the help. You know, because they're like that. They'll refer to people like that, apparently. They're so, like, classist, it seems. Like, it's just so, like, he is not even our family member. He is just a random dude. Clark, that's her baby. One of the final entries called Clark from Lauren Roottrees' diary written in 1964. Clark getting married and, in my opinion, far too young. He's barely 18 for God's sakes, and Danielle isn't much older, but openly confronting them would make me a hypocrite. After all, Jacob and I got married at 16. Danielle, her son got married to a Danielle. Where the heck was she? This one? Danielle Franks, David Third Kellogg. Who are those people? Oh, they split up and they got married to somebody else, and they also split up and then he got married to somebody else. Oh, Clark, dang. Married, divorced, married, child, divorced. Maybe before or after, we don't know. Married, 2 kids. Oh, and then their kid had a spouse and then got married. Interesting. Okay. Clark, like the rest of his generation, is a free spirit. What else do you call a group of kids growing up with more money than any one person can spend? Yeah. They all aspire to be musicians and artists and dancers and all sorts of nonsense. The only one who had any discipline is Carl, and that's because Pop forced Clancy to send him to the academy. So Clancy had another kid named Carl. That's the last one. I'm assuming it's Clancy Jr., Edward, and Carl, or Clancy Edward's children. Maybe I'm just getting old, but our generation was never so bad. My brothers all seemed to pursue passive knowledge, and the most rebellious thing any of us ever did was bring home someone who would be illegal to marry if we lived anywhere south. What? But our generation was never so bad. My brothers all seemed to pursue passive knowledge, and the most rebellious thing any of us ever did was bring home someone who would be illegal to marry if we lived anywhere south of Pennsylvania. Like a black person? Is that what they're talking about? I'm scared. You guys are scary. Pop seems to have gotten over it because Edward is set to take over his department once he retires. Okay. Edward? Yes. And as for me, my first published book, Swashbuckle My Heart, is based on the pirate stories I used to invent with Jacob when we were walking in the woods after school. I think he'd be proud that Clark and I are carrying on his name. Even my cousins are doing well. Okay, hold on. Let's write. Let's take some notes. 16? Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's a lot in here. Let's take some notes. Let's say Carl went to the academy. I don't know what that means he did as a job, but we're going to do that. Probably Clancy Edward's son. I'm assuming. Then we have Edward took over, or was set to take over after, I'm assuming it's his father, Clancy Edward. She's talking about, because this is Lauren, who's also one of Clancy Edward's sons, or daughters, or kids, so she's talking about them. As for me, my first published book, Swashbuckle My Heart, is based on the pirate stories I used to invent with Jacob when we were walking in the woods after school. I'm going to look up this, actually, in the library. I'll come back to all of that nonsense. Oh, what was her she born as? Oh, Roottrees, right? Yeah, but she wrote, it didn't say she wrote under her, I think it said she wrote under her maiden name at some point. No copies available. Re-release has X marks the spot. Interesting. So if we can look up this, nothing relevant was found in the public library. Check for typos. What? X marks the spot. I copy this. Publish under a different name. Oh, so then she republished it under her real name. According to the back of the book, this is a buried treasure by Lauren Roottrees from the author of the Court series. It also says keep an eye out for Lauren Roottrees' next book, Revisiting the Diary 10 Years Later, releasing in 1975. What? A buried treasure by Lauren Roottrees from the author of the Court series. It also, okay, so this is just giving us this. Revisiting the Diary 10 Years Later. There you go. Scandal. Oh no. This was a version of Lauren Roottrees' diary released in 1975. Unlike the original diary, it contains no pictures but has many new passages that reflect on her thoughts 10 years later. It's printing a lot of stuff. Oh my gosh. Read Hanger. One major event happened between releases that changed Lauren's outlook on certain subjects. The death of Elias. A summary of the fallout has been added to your notes as well as other select pages. Oh, here we go. That's gonna help a lot, girl. Thank you for being an author and giving me the tea. Like, thank you. 4, 2, 4, 4. And this one doesn't say anything. This is just, I guess, some other scandalous drama we're gonna learn about. That's really fun. Okay, but let's go back to this first and finish what we've been reading here. I think he'd be proud that Clark and I are carrying on his name. Even my cousins are doing well. Zach's not a bad president after all, and his sister seems to be doing a good job raising her twins. Okay, so that'll help us figure out which one Zach is. Gwen is Gwen, but at least she came out of the divorce with her head held high. She even told us that she might come home next year so we can meet her kids. But the free spirits in any other family, they'd all end up on the streets, even Clark. Right, okay, so let's go over to here, the Mordens. She had twins. Oh, well, that doesn't really... They both had 2 kids. We have to figure out who had the twins and who... Oh, wait, did it say younger? Hold on. His sister seems to be doing a good job raising her twins. Gwen is Gwen, but at least she came out of the divorce with her head held high. No. Because whatever it is, if this is Zach, he's gonna have the two of these girls are gonna be his kids. Because they have the last name Morden, and then the other one is not going to be that. Oh gosh, there's so much. I just want to look at this person. Who the heck are these people? To Carl and Brenda. Much love, Debbie. Who are these people? We'll figure them out later. But also this, I just realized Stephanie Jones. Wasn't I talking about there was a Stephanie? What was I just? Butler County Times. Carl, I know we didn't see eye to eye when it came to the candy company, but you could talk to your girls about putting on a statement supporting Stephanie. She could use the publicity your daughter's bring. CM, don't let conflict spread to the next generation. I don't know. How many people do I almost have locked in? Like this guy, I think I have completely because he was the architect, yada, yada, yada. And then Clancy Edward was a lawyer. So which one? I need one more to lock in. We could try to look up Gwen's kids, possibly. Or Margot. But I don't think we can just find Margaret. Because she's not a famous Roottrees, so we can't just find her in the computer system. I don't know. I think I'm going to use the piece of information that Gwen was the first one who in the family was not a housewife to make these 2 women housewives. And then... she is a blonde, so I'm gonna make this girl blonde. Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure, but I thought these 3 entries are correct and have been logged. Roottree, Clancy Edward, Margaret, and Elias Jr. have also logged the following optional entries: Kosel, Jacob, Danielle, Walter Forsythe, James Morden. There's a lot of names off there. That photo, the optional photos, that optional photo. Yes, that's a lot. That. You're listening to WRTZ Okay.
It's time for your
104.5.
headlines. Once an hour, every hour, on the 45.
Okay.
It's a bizarre development to an already tragic tale.
Oh, no.
In the wake of the accident that took his life, some of Carl Roottree's belongings have apparently gone missing. Most notably, a framed photo of the Roottree family from the mid-1970s that Carl had on his office wall. We interviewed a local psychologist about who would do such a thing and why. For that article, search online for WRTD News.
WRTD
Again,
News.
That's WRTD.
WRTD News. Okay, hold on. What is this? Oh, it told you here. You heard something odd on WRTD radio. The photo you were given may have been stolen from Carl's office. The newspaper mentioned you have to search online for WRTD to find out more. Now this one has like clues to figure out. That's fun. Okay, but we're not going to do that in this episode, but the last thing we're going to do right here is just we're going to go in and put Gwendolyn in there. It kind of looks like the Scarlet Witch a little bit. Look at that. We're getting some stuff done. Look at all this yellow. That's really good. Like, we only got 3 people locked in this video, but I feel like we learned a lot of information. Like, we have a lot of people partially done. And we got a lot of names, like the bonus side names that we don't really have to do, but they help us reason things, or like figure people out. We got a lot of those gone. But there's a lot of yellow on this board. I'm really excited. This one, ooh, we know some about this. Like, I took some notes for this. We know some of these guys. We're just gonna have to figure that out later. But this, I still don't know anything about what this is supposed to be. I might have to look up some hints for that one, because maybe I'll figure it out later, but I don't know. Look up for some inconsistencies in the past. I don't know is all what they're talking about. That's all what they're talking about, but I'm really excited. So they were talking crap about him for divorcing once and getting remarried. He had 3 wives, so maybe he had a husband, but we'll find out. They're going to be, they have kids. Well, they get adopted. No, there's not an adoption here, never mind. This means by birth. Anyway. This game was so much fun, but if you want to see me look up what the WRTD news is and find out who stole his Carl's freaking stuff, you can catch me in the next one. I'm really excited. So yeah, anyways, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys!